As police, of course, still looking for answers over a month after 4 University of Idaho students were brutally stabbed in their off-campus home. They've narrowed down now the search on a vehicle in question and are hoping more information will lead to a break in that case. Of course, that white Hyundai Elantra. Let's get out now to Fox's Jake Kernodle. He's standing by in Moscow, Idaho. Jake, thanks for being with us tonight. Okay, have you spoken to police since we last spoke to you? If so, what are they telling you?
Yes, Andrew, we spoke to police today, and they say they're sorting through tips and leads relating to that car spotted near the scene of the crime on the night of those murders. Police have been asking the public for any information relating to that white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Today, they say that more than 20,000 cars in Washington state and Idaho fit into that criteria, and they believe the occupants of that Elantra may have critical information relating to this case. Fox News asked Moscow police what it means that the person who may have been driving that car on the night of the murders hasn't come forward.
It could be for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's as simple as they don't realize it. It's hard to believe with all the attention in this case, but not everybody watches the news. Not everyone may be paying attention. So that person just, maybe they were driving through and they were like, oh, couldn't be me. But maybe it's more than that.
And Andrew, police are also looking into body cam footage from a Moscow police officer on the night of those murders. The officer was talking to students in an unrelated incident near the scene. But in the background of this video, you can see a group of people walking by around the time those 4 students were murdered. And students are still here in Moscow, but with the semester wrapping up this week, campus will be emptying out over the next few days for holiday break. Andrew?
Yeah, and Jake, I think that's what a lot of our viewers, the question that they have is, like, what led police to even, get this tip, to even focus on this make and model of this vehicle between the years of 2011 and 2013. We saw some of the really great reporting from Fox News Digital as well, that a car like it was outside that gas station near campus. So you've been there for a couple of days now. Jake, walk us through the atmosphere on campus and what you are expecting in this story in the next couple of days.
Yeah, Andrew, we talked to people on campus, students that are still here that came back after Thanksgiving break and will, of course, be leaving over the next few days for holiday break after their finals are over. And most of them felt safe. They felt comfortable. More than a month out, they said it was an isolated incident, and the security has not improved, but there's been more security near the campus that's helped to make them feel safe. There was one student who did say that some of her friends will not be coming back after winter break, but no one that we talked to said that they themselves would not be coming back. And as far as what's going to happen in this case over the next couple of days, police are still sorting through so many tips and leads that are coming into the department, really focusing on the white car. When we talked to police today, that was the meat of what they were talking about and the development that they're focusing on at the moment, Andrew.
Okay, Jake Kernodle there. Good reporting. We'll obviously be checking in again if there are any breaks in this case. No doubt so many across the country want that to happen. Jake, thanks so much. Okay, in the meantime, we do want to get to some video statements from officials there in Moscow. They do this somewhat regularly, posting them on their Facebook page and on their YouTube page as well. Before we get to that, let's put up some tweets. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn is also on the ground in Moscow. He tweeted this today. He said, University of Idaho Murders. We just talked on camera with the Moscow police PIO again. We're told the license plate on that white Hyundai Elantra is unknown and that the car was there at or near the scene. At this hour, of course, that driver or car is still at large. Fox News digital reporter Michael Ruiz tweets this today. Police running down a list of 22,000 Hyundais seeking anything abnormal in the frat party timeline. Of course, we know 2 of the victims attended a fraternity party at the Sigma Chi fraternity the night of those Murders. Okay, like I said, though, let's get the Thursday, December 15th update. It's about 3 minutes from police there in Moscow with some progress on the investigation.
Take us back when investigators first started asking for video. What sources were you asking to get video from?
Well, we started looking for video the day of the crime. Officers on scene, before I even arrived, had identified certain residences in the area that had video cameras. We know just from past experience that security cameras, doorbell cameras and the like are very, very commonplace now. And that's a part of our standard procedures to start looking for a possible video source in and around crime scenes. So we started the day of the crime. And then that expanded as we got more investigators to the area for assistance, and we started putting together teams. And one of our team's sole job was to go through the King Road area, associated neighborhoods, and eventually the main thoroughfares in the city of Moscow, trying to identify videos, video cameras, etc., and then contact those business owners, contact those residents, and ask for copies of that video.
Initially, there was a particular area outlined as where the priority was for asking for video. Why was that area selected?
Well, that area was selected because essentially it surrounds the King Road area, and we know that people typically have to travel to and from. We weren't trying to pigeonhole our investigation into the suspect lives in the area. We wanted to make sure that we covered all the bases. And so as we began to gather more information, we began to expand our search area. You may recall from the second press conference that we specifically put out a plea to the public for any video in the King Road area, and then we gave a defined area, and we put that area on our website as well, asking residents, hey, if you have video or if your neighbor has video, let us know so we can get a copy of that. We understand that video has a finite life, and sometimes systems will start recording over themselves. So we started that process very, very early in the investigation.
Why ask the public for additional help with this white car?
Well, through our tips, through our leads, some of the evidence that came in, we start to identify patterns. And like we said earlier, we are confident that the occupant or occupants of that vehicle have information that's critical to this investigation. We also understand that even though there's sometimes a fascination with a particular case, some people simply don't see the news and may not know that we're looking for it. So if we get the word out there, hey, maybe your neighbor has one in the garage that they don't drive very often. Maybe there's one that's just not on the registration database, let us know. So far, we have a list of approximately 22,000 registered white Hyundai Elantras that fit into our criteria that we're sorting through. That's an awful lot of information, but it may not be all of them. So the public can help us with that.
Okay, so you were listening in there to the captain of the Moscow Police Department. His name, Roger Lanier, with today's update. They posted that video to their YouTube and Facebook pages. I just want to put up this statement that went along with it. They say investigators are sorting through 22,000 registered 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantras that fit into the search criteria, and thank the public for providing additional information about the vehicle. Tips and leads led investigators to ask the public for additional help in searching for a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra in the immediate area of the King Road residence during the early morning hours of November 13th. Investigators believe the occupant or occupants of this vehicle may have critical information to share regarding this case. And of course, our reporting also suggests that police do not know the license plate number on that car as well. In the meantime, here at Live Now from Fox, we have been speaking to a number of different people, kind of running the gamut: forensic pathologists, criminologists, legal experts, former FBI agents, retired FBI agents, because so many are offering, their experience, their analysis into how the police might be conducting this investigation. We did that earlier today. We spoke with a retired FBI agent, now professor, who has some thoughts on this and some insight into this investigation. Live Now's own Lexi Petrovich spoke with him. Let's play out some of that interview right now.
You're watching Live Now from Fox. I'm Lexi Petrovich. Well, it's been nearly 5 weeks now since the brutal murders of 4 students right near the University of Idaho campus, and still there are way more questions than there are answers today. And we have a lot to break down, so we are very grateful to have Greg Rogers on the show today to share some insight on such a high-profile case. And Greg, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself, but you are a former FBI agent and a current private investigator and also a professor teaching students about crime. So share a little bit with us about your background and your experience.
Sure. I spent 30 years with the FBI before I retired. I worked violent crimes and undercover my entire career, worked other large serial murder cases. Since I retired, I've been a private investigator for about 5 years, still working violent crime matters. And I teach a course at Utah Valley University on serial killers and violent crimes.
Well, what are your initial thoughts on this case? I mean, this truly has captivated the attention of everyone around the world, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a very difficult case. It's, with absolutely no identified suspects. This is a case where the FBI profilers are going to have a huge impact, and they've had the opportunity to review the crime scene and to make their recommendations about what type of individual we're looking for. And those recommendations will be based on very particularized facts at the crime scene. For instance, type of wounds, whether this individual was skilled at what he was doing, he or she, and whether things like, to use a term of art, whether trophies were taken, memorabilia, things like that, things that right now only the investigators know and the profilers know, and that's the way that should stay.
Well, and there have been so many developments and tips, but then also rumors. So let's kind of just bring viewers up to speed with where things are at right now.
Well, with the tips are tough, and I don't mean to sound critical. I really don't. But what happens is we set up a command post, and hundreds and hundreds of tips come in every day. Those have to, of course, all be vetted. They have to be followed up. In other cases that we've worked, coincidentally, the Joseph Duncan case, which was also in Idaho, but the DC sniper case, other cases like that, when I see tips about vehicles, I'm always a bit suspect because, again, people are calling in and they're well-intentioned, but a whole lot of time and effort can go into tracking down a tip that may have little or nothing to do with the case actually. And I don't know anything about the Hyundai. That may actually be a good tip, but it can also be one that's taking a lot of time and effort for no good reason.
Well, and we'll touch on the vehicle of interest in a little bit, but right now we don't have a suspect, as you mentioned, or suspects that police have named, and they also have not located the weapon, the knife that they believe was used to commit these murders. How likely is it that you truly think police know a lot more than what the public realizes right now?
They know a whole lot more about the type of suspect based on information at the crime scene. And again, it's critically important the way these homicides were carried out. There's going to be very particularized facts about the order of the victims, the way they were killed, how many if some of the victims received much more aggressive treatment than others. By that, I mean number of stab wounds. Those sorts of things become very important to the profilers, because you're using that information to determine what the killer's motives were and what type of killer you have. And by that, I mean someone who's done this before, someone who's experienced, someone who's inexperienced.
Okay, so we have been listening into this interview there with, insight and analysis into, how the investigation into something like this, a quadruple homicide with 4 young victims, college students, is going. And so we've been providing you the latest information when we get it on any very, minor breaks, minor tips in the case there in Moscow, Idaho.